Hey there, everybody in the FFBE Global Facebook group, and hello to everybody who sees this video on YouTube as well. Welcome to this week's Ask an Old Mog video, where we go over questions and answers that I see in the Facebook group in a visual format. Try and provide some insight and wisdom into how I play the game, and some tips that I think are useful for beginners. And this week's question comes from a number of questions that I've been seeing kind of throughout the week about what unit should I pick? What unit should I pick with my NV Select ticket? What unit should I pick from the Nexus Shards? What unit should I pick as far as what banner do I want to pull on? You know, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? And I wanted to share an opinion that I heard from Spidey. If you're not familiar with Spidey posts some guides and clears in the Facebook group, and wanted to just share an opinion that Spidey shared with me earlier. He and I were talking about relative skill in the game, and do we feel like we're good at the game, or what's going on? And Spidey said to me, you do a really good job of using the resources that you have available. And so I took that to heart, and I really appreciate that feedback and that comment. And I want to kind of take that and run with it. So I'm going to share with you some of my insight as far as how I make choices as far as what units to pick. We've kind of talked about this before in a previous video, but this video is going to be different because it does include such a wider range of NV units that we can select from. And while the answers that we've been seeing a lot of in Facebook group have been really straightforward, everyone's been saying, hey, either pick Kaito or Roberta. While I think that's good advice, I want you to know why that's good advice, and why that's, why that might not be the best way to go for you, depending on how you're playing the game. So that said, let's get into it. So here's the question, right? What unit should I pick? And there's three things that I want to talk about. One is the NV Select ticket that everyone got from login. You can technically get another one of these later in this month if you buy the Crest Pass for July, because it's included in the Adventurer rewards. So that's very, very strong. But we've also got the Nexus Shards that you get if you complete Clash of Wills. And then also various banners that are going on that I think are really, really good, valuable things to focus on. And so I want to talk a little bit about each one. Let's start with the NV Select ticket. So you can get to this in the shop section. If you scroll down to Exchange Shop, and then you go down to the ticket exchange. NV Select, not fragment. Sorry, it's a ticket exchange. Where is it? NV Unit Select 6th Anniversary. Sorry, it took me a second to find it. I've already done mine, so I don't have a ticket. But let's take a look. I mean, it includes pretty much every NeoVisions unit that is not premium, starting from the very beginning. We got Cloud all the way down to Kaito, right? And also in this list, if you scroll up a little bit, is Roberta, which is the one that everyone's talking about. Kaito and Roberta. That's all I've been hearing is Kaito and Roberta. So in order to decide kind of what you want and what you want to pick, I want you to ask yourself some questions. One, is there a unit that I can pick on this list whose STMR or TMR is going to provide me with an immediate power boost that's going to allow me to complete a trial or a challenge right away? So like, for example, if I'm really, really lacking in the Magic True Double Hand department, and I really think that having an additional 200% Magic True Double Hand is going to help me, I can pick up Paus right here and get her STMR for an additional 200% Magic True Double Hand on a unit. And if that's going to help push me over the edge to beat a trial, there you go. That's pretty solid. Or similarly, if I really need, what's another good example? If I really need some death immunity for Clash of Wills, which is pretty important for the first phase of Clash of Wills this month, and I really want Ice Reaper Kurisame's Knowing Tag. His STMR has death immunity on it. I could grab that right now and have another source of death immunity. And so that's kind of an example of what I'm talking about. If these units have something that I need right now to beat something, grab that unit. If you need it right now, This is an easy way to pick and choose an item or an ability that you want, that you can use anytime you want, without having to wait on them to randomly drop from a crystal. Another one, is there a unit whose skills are going to allow you to complete a challenge? So for example, if I need a really strong wind imbue unit, Bulwark and the Melodic Mascots is a fantastic wind, ice, and dark imbue unit. So if you really, really need that, they are a good unit to grab. And if that's going to help me beat a trial that I otherwise couldn't beat because I don't have a wind imbue, there it is. That's someone you want to pick. Or let's say, I'm struggling to beat Clash of Wills at all because I don't have Sky. I've never gotten Sky before. I could grab a Sky. Or if I really, really need, let's go with someone newer here. If I really, really need, who's an example? Who's a good example? Trying to think. Just another good example of like something you could grab that's going to do something specific for you. Let's say I've never gotten a VV before, but I want to start using VV for like dark visions, clears, and stuff like that. Because he can do the reflect thing and like get a 100-point chain that does really fairly good damage right away. There you go. You've got a VV. Just some examples of things. And so if there's a unit whose skill set's going to allow you to beat something right away, and you want to beat it for some reason, grab that unit. And then the other one that I want to talk about is Clash of Wills. So if there's a unit that you can grab a copy of right now because you're 50 shards away from awakening them to EX2 or EX3 to go for a high score in Clash of Wills, and let's say you really want to go for a rank 1 clear, then go ahead and grab that unit. And this is going to be a free copy of it that you can pick and choose and get those 50 fragments to get you to a higher EX level. So this is how I chose this myself. So I needed a Kaito. I was 50 fragments away from Kaito EX3, and doing that was going to allow me to work in Sylvie and Esther, who I had at EX2 both, and then fill the rest of my team up with EX3 units and go for an EX16 score and get rank 1, which I did. So grabbing a Kaito in that example, I already grabbed mine, helped me to get to EX16 and complete the challenge in Clash of Wills that I wanted to go for, the rank 1 clear. So those are the questions you want to ask yourself. Can I get immediate power or beat something, or compete in Clash of Wills with one extra copy of a unit? And if you can, that's the unit. Is Kaito really strong outside of Clash of Wills and inside of Clash of Wills, and a very valuable pick no matter what you're trying to do? I say yes, personally. Kaito is one of my favorite units in the game as of right this moment. But Roberta is also extremely powerful for very similar reasons. She's fantastic fire support, that does tag team chaining, does very strong jumping, does a lot of buffs for killers and Mirage and Limit Burst. It's just so very useful. And Kaito is the same way. Very, very useful units. And I think they're very strong picks, but they're maybe not the best pick depending on what you're doing. There's my opinion on that. So everyone's saying Kaito and Roberta. I generally agree, but ask yourself these questions. Don't just grab something just because someone told you to. All right, the next one has to do with Nexus Shards, and this is the same thing. Right, I'm gonna go to the Nexus Shards shop, and if you've never done this is in the special shop. You get these from beating Clash of Wills. Here we go. It's these green drops that you get from beating Clash of Wills. So you could pick Louise, Oliveira, Roka, Albed Girl Riku, Triumphant General Celeste, Guardian Blade Charlotte, or you could pick these abilities and stuff. And I do recommend the abilities. So I'm going to throw that out there right now. But people ask, who should I pick from this? So you want to use those same criteria that we just talked about: power, beating a trial, or Clash of Wills, right? If that's something that you're interested in. But then you also want to ask yourself, do I need a breaker and I just don't have one yet? Let's say I have Roberta, but I don't have a super good fire imperil and a fire field to go with it. Louise does that. So Louise could join your fire team with Roberta and provide you with a ton of really great breaking and fire support. Or let's say you just want a really good support unit. Maybe you need some earth damage. Maybe you're kind of interested in using your cooldown skills more often. Roka's a good option for that. Roka does a lot of really neat support and time magic to speed up your cooldowns. So Roka can do some really unique stuff, and she's very, there's no other unit in the game that does that, and so Roka's a good pick. Or let's say you need a magic cover tank and you don't have one. General Celeste is actually very good at being a magic cover tank. In fact, was clutch for people getting rank 1 clears against Aldaba, the Clash of Wills boss 2 months ago. So if you don't have a Celeste, which I don't have a Celeste, this is one of the ones I'm considering picking, not to mention that she's my favorite character in all of Final Fantasy. So I'm considering that strongly, even though I don't really need her at this point. Maybe you need a fairly good mage, and honestly, with magic variants now in the game and the Dazzling Demoness card, Olivera can do some very good stuff for you. So, you do have options. You want to ask yourself, what do I need? Maybe not just what's the best pick. Honestly, I think out of all these, the best pick is probably Louise. Breaks are fantastic. 90% Spirit Break is fantastic. It's hard to beat that. Kaito can do that in Clash of Wills, but can't do it outside of Clash of Wills. Louise remains one of the best breakers for Spirit in the game at this moment, and she just got her incarnate, innate, intrinsic abilities that are really pretty good for her. I've gotten her over 8,000 magic, so she's pretty solid. I've already got her at EX +2. I don't really feel a need to push that hard for her right this moment, so I'm not picking her. In fact, I already did. That's how I got my EX +2. Yeah. For me right now, it's between Roka and Celeste, and I haven't decided yet, but I do want to pay special attention to these 2 abilities, Dragonfly Destroyer and Prideful Incarnate. This Dragonfly Destroyer is 70 attack and magic, 70% with Dragon Killer and Insect Killer. Insect Killer is pretty rare, so I do think it's as good to grab. Dragon Killer less rare, but still rarer than other killers that we get. But the bigger thing is that we've got a Clash of Wills boss next month that's a bug. It's an insect, so this is a good pickup. 50% insect killer with all this other stuff is a good pickup. Prideful Incarnate, 80% magic with 80% water, earth, and light resist. Fantastic. This is a fantastic ability. I recommend you pick up at least 1 copy of each of these. I grabbed 2. I had the shards to do it, and I wasn't like dying for any of these units at the moment. So yeah, I definitely recommend grabbing those. They're fantastic. And those are just things you want to consider when you're kind of looking at, what do I want to do with these shards? Ask yourselves these questions. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about is banners. So we'll go ahead and go to the banners on the summon page. If you're just now starting the game, for whatever reason, and you've got the lapis to spend on it, I'm going to tell you that as a veteran player, I think the better pickup for you right now, the better banner to summon on, rather than it's either going to be going for Vilk or going for Sylvie and Esther. But I think the better pick for a beginning player, if you've got the lapis, is Sylvie and Esther. I do highly recommend this one. If you've got the 28k to do this step up, the Paladin Sylvie Stormseeker Esther step up summon with the ability exchange on it, or the item exchange, it's so good. You've got a really high chance to get Sylvie or Esther, and then along the way at the end, you get this ability. All you need is strength. You can get this ability. All you need is strength, which is super valuable, and I highly recommend it. But Esther and Sylvie work really well together. Vilk is very strong, obviously, but he doesn't get any specific power up from Sylvie. And if you're pulling on this banner, potentially getting a Sylvie and an Esther, Sylvie amps up Esther significantly, and naturally kind of works together with her as far as element support and stuff like that. Super powerful combo. They're going to be used in Clash of Wills for a long time. Vilk will too, honestly. So like if you go for Vilk instead, there you go. Vilk's gonna be very strong, in a different way. But yeah, they're both phenomenal. But I do highly recommend this step up right here. As you can see, I already did it. It was awesome. And then these ones up at the top, for new players, the seasonal step up is fairly good. You can get a lot of decent units in there. There are a couple of not so decent units in the pool as well. So I personally skipped that one because I had all the units that I wanted out of it. But but there are some good units in there, like Divine Beast Chow, super, super good. And then this July Neovision Value Summon. It's cash. You know, if you want to invest the cash in that, it's fairly, you know, it's expensive, but there's a lot of stuff in here. Curated pool, guaranteed Neos. It's a lot of stuff, you know. These two banners, the units are basically better for their TMRs and STMRs than they are for their actual kit. So I don't really recommend those for a brand new player. I would stick with the anniversary ones, the Sylvie and Esther and the Vilk banner for right this moment. Especially if you want to do Clash of Wills. All three of those units are going to be very, very strong in Clash of Wills. They were Sylvie and Esther were clutch to me, you know, getting rank 1 this month. So there's my opinion on that one. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that kind of puts some perspective in for you about like how you might think about what unit you want to pick when you're going after a guaranteed, you know, I can pick whatever I want type banner, or like where you want to spend your lapis as far as that goes. Hopefully that's helpful. If it's not, you know, let me know and maybe I can explain it further, or like kind of give another perspective, or if you've got a different opinion, you know, I want to know that too. You know, drop a comment below, whether this is on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll try and respond to it. And likewise, if you've got a question you want to see in next week's video, drop a comment and let me know what that question is, because I like to have, you know, fresh, live, real questions to go over rather than just kind of coming up with something off the top of my head. But I'm happy to do it. And otherwise, I'm out of time and out of things to say about this topic. So I hope you have a good night and a good week and a good tomorrow, and be good to each other. And we'll see you in next week's video. All right. Take care.